On the quiz, there will be a lot of questions that you need to factor. Like we did on 8.4 multiply and divide rational expressions, this was the first worksheet that we did in this unit. So we did, on the front side, problems 1 and 3, and then 9 and 10. But in case you did not do problems 2 and 4, so let's run through 2 just as a reminder, and then we'll talk through how to start number 4. So in number 2, this is where we divided functions like we had in the previous unit. And so h of x was on top, which is 4x squared plus 7x plus 3. And j of x is on bottom, so we're dividing by 5x squared plus 6x plus 1. And so in order to simplify this expression, we need to factor both the top and the bottom. So to factor the top, the first two terms have to multiply together to get 4x squared. So that means it's either 4x and 1x or 2x and 2x. I'm not completely sure, but I think 4x and 1x is more likely. Then the last two numbers have to multiply together to get the last term, 3. So I need 1 times 3 are the only options. So if I put 1 here, I get 1x and 12x. If I put 3 here, 3x and 4x, 3x plus 4x is 7x. So a positive 3x and a positive 4x. So just always check. 4x times x is 4x squared, 4x times 1, 3 times x, 4x plus 3x is the middle term, 7x, and then the last two, 3 times 1 is 3. On the bottom, I don't see any common factors, so I know the first two terms have to multiply to get 5x squared. Well, the only way to multiply to get 5 is 5 times 1. The last two terms have to multiply to get 1. 1 times 1. And since everything is positive, don't have to worry about negative signs here. The middle term, 5x times 1 is 5x. 1 times x is 1x. 5x plus 1x is 6x. So that works also. So once you simplify an expression, then we want to reduce, we want to cancel any common factors. I see an x plus 1 on top and an x plus 1 on bottom. The other two factors do not cancel, and so 4x plus 3 is left on top, and 5x plus 1 is left on bottom. Now the only thing that we have to pay attention to yet is the excluded values, or as the next problem says, the restrictions on the variables. Basically this means that the denominator cannot equal 0 at any point. So any factor that shows up on the bottom, 5x plus 1 cannot equal 0, and x plus 1, even though it was canceled out, x plus 1 can't be equal to 0 either. So I subtract 1, divide by 5, x can't be negative 1/5, subtract 1, x cannot be negative 1. So the answer is 4x plus 3 over 5x plus 1 as long as x does not equal negative 1/5 or negative 1. So in problem number 4, you've already got the fraction, so we have to factor the top and factor the bottom. Factor the top factor the bottom. There's no common factors, no greatest common factor on either of those. Once you do that, you look for common factors that you can cancel out, and then we have to find the restrictions on the variables, the excluded values, where we set each of the factors in the denominator equal to 0, because those are the ones that are excluded, are restricted. Right. On the back side, so we did number 11 and 12 in class. And so just as a reminder, we'll take the one that looks the most complex, number 15. So anytime you see multiplication, it means we got to factor everything right from the start. X squared minus 5x plus 6. There's no common factor. But I know x times x is x squared. To get 6, it might be 3 times 2 or it might be 1 times 6. Because it's plus 6, I know they're the same sign, so these two are going to add together to get negative 5. So 3 and 2 add together to get 5, but to get negative 5 means they both have to be negative. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Negative 3x and negative 2x make negative 5x. On the bottom, x squared minus 4. There's no common factor. I know x times x is x squared, and to cancel out the middle term, these two have to be opposites. So plus 2 and minus 2. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0x. It drops out. The second fraction, no common factors. So x squared comes from x times x. 2 has to be 2 times 1. Everything's addition. So I keep the addition. X times 1 is 1x. 2 times x is 2x. 1x plus 2x is 3x, the middle term. On the bottom, no common factors. X times x is x squared. 3 times 1 will give me 3, but I need one of them to be positive and one to be negative, so it gives me negative 3. My middle term needs to be negative 2x. So I need the bigger one to be negative, the smaller one to be positive. Negative 3 times positive 1 is negative 3. The outside, x times 1 is 1x. The inside, negative 3 times x is negative 3x. 1x plus negative 3x is negative 2x. Once you've got everything factored, look for common factors on top and bottom. X minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 2 on top, x minus 2 on bottom, x plus 2 on top, x plus 2 on bottom, x plus 1 on top, x plus 1 on bottom. Everything canceled out, but remember when you reduce something on top and on bottom, when you divide something by itself, it's 1 and 1. So it's really 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 on top and on bottom. And so we end up with 1 over 1. So the answer is 1. All the factors cancel each other. So the division problems at the bottom. So division problems, remember the first step is to change it into multiplication problem. So x squared minus x minus 12 over x plus 3, keep the first fraction, change it to multiply, and then flip the second fraction. X plus 5 over x squared minus 6x plus 8. Now, once you have a multiplication problem, now we can factor. X squared minus x minus 12 factors. First term is x times x to get x squared. The last one, I need negative 12, so 1 and 12, 2 and 6, or 3 and 4. Because it's subtraction, it means I need a difference of negative 1. So 3 and 4 have a difference, so I need the bigger number to be negative, the smaller number to be positive. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. X times 3 is 3x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. 3x minus 4x is negative 1x. X plus 3 on the bottom doesn't factor. I'll put that in parentheses. In the second fraction, x plus 5 doesn't factor. Put it in parentheses. X squared minus 6x plus 8. No common factors. I know x times x is x squared. To get 8, it's either 1 times 8 or 2 times 4. 2 times 4 looks like I could get a 6 out of that. So if I use a 2 and a 4, I need them to be the same sign so that they multiply to get a positive number, but they have to be negative to add together to get a negative number. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. Negative 4x plus negative 2x is negative 6x. Now I look for factors on top and on bottom. X minus 4 crosses out x minus 4. X plus 3 crosses out x plus 3. X plus 5, there aren't any. So, the simplified form, the only thing left on top is x plus 5. The only thing left on bottom is x minus 2.